Now it's time to jump into our A-League news, and there has been plenty of player movement over the past week or so. And kicking it off, we're talking about Western Sydney Wanderers because Milos Ninkovic, the Serbian maestro, has moved from crosstown rivals Sydney FC to Western Sydney Wanderers in one of the most insane transfers we've seen in A-League history. This one is epic, man. I mean, this is going to take the Sydney Derby this upcoming season to another level. Can you just imagine it? The new Allianz Stadium. It was set up, man. The story was set up for Milos Ninkovic to potentially spend his last season in Sky Blue. You know, returning to Allianz Stadium, the stadium where he's achieved so much. But his first game back at that stadium is going to be in red and black. A massive move for Western Sydney Wanderers. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits into the squad, whether he's going to be utilised, you know, from the starting lineup week in, week out, or whether he's just going to be a bench player. We know that he's probably past his prime, Milos Ninkovic, but it is just a massive move for the A-League, not just these Sydney clubs, but the A-League in general. Some more Wanderers transfer news. Tom Beadling signs a one-year deal for the club. The versatile player who's played much of his football in the lower divisions in England. He can play as a central midfielder or as a centre-back. Tommy Masella has signed a 2-year extension. Keanu Bacchus, his departure has been confirmed as well. He's heading over to Scotland. Brisbane Roar, speaking of big names, we're going to keep it going because Charlie Austin, the former Premier League star, he's played at Southampton, QPR, Burnley. He has signed officially with Brisbane Roar. It happened last week. Melbourne Victory have signed Tommy Juric for a 1-year deal. Bit of an interesting one for me. Tommy Juric, I can only really see him being a bench striker at Victory next season. They've also re-signed Jason Guerrier for the upcoming season. And Eli Adams and Ahmed Taleb have signed scholarship contracts. Eli Adams, coming from Brisbane Roar, had a couple of really decent performances at Brisbane at the back end of last campaign. And Ahmed Taleb, a goalkeeper from Melbourne City. Sydney FC, some more news regarding them. Ryan Grant has signed a 2-year extension. Meanwhile, James Donachie and Palaretre will be sticking around for the upcoming campaign as well. So it looks like a Sydney backline will once again include a centre-back partnership of Alex Wilkinson and James Donachie. Newcastle Jets signing news for them. Trent Bahagia and Josh Sotirio have been signed on 2-year deals, as have Rory Jordan and Mark Natter. Lucas Moragas has also signed a 2-year extension, but he has been loaned out, a season-long loan, to Wellington Phoenix, which I think is a great move for everyone involved. Lucas Moragas has an opportunity now at Wellington, who must have plans to include Moragas in their squad, and he's a versatile player too. Let's talk about Adelaide United now as well, because they have re-signed Ryan Kitto. He's sticking around for another 3 seasons. Ben Warland has rejoined the club. He was at Adelaide before joining Sydney FC a number of years ago. He's rejoined on a 2-year deal, and Nathan Kostandopoulos has signed a 1-year extension at the Reds. Meanwhile, some more news across the country. Macarthur secure Philip Curto on a 1-year deal. Central Coast Mariners have signed Ghanaian striker Paul Ayongo on a 2-year deal. Western United have been very quiet, but just this past week they've signed Sebastian Pasquale on a 1-year deal. Perth secure Young on a scholarship contract. And meanwhile, Melbourne City, Manuel Picciarelli and Ahmed Taleb have departed the club. So plenty of movement this past week as well. It's slowing down a little bit, but still plenty going on. Wanderers have well and truly been the busiest. Every week when we talk about it, it's just Wanderers. There's so much news there. Teams like Western United have been very, very quiet. Macarthur have been very quiet. So some teams have been frantic all over the place. Some teams still taking their time to rebuild their squads.